I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome everyone to the regular session of Goldendale City Council for November 2nd, 2020. I'll ask Connie Byers to give our roll call.
Mylan.
This is Mylan, present.
Gilberto.
Present.
Gilberto.
I am here, present.
Andy.
Here.
Shannon.
Here.
Julie.
Here.
Lauren.
Present. Excuse me, present.
And Kevin.
Here.
We have a full council.
And can I remind everybody to mute their phones till they want to speak?
Thanks everyone for being here. We have a full council meeting tonight, so we don't have any motions to excuse anybody. That's great. Next item that we need to cover is the agenda, both the approval of the agenda and the consent agenda. And we'll need a motion to take that action. And if there are questions or comments on the agenda, please present those.
This is Mylan, I so move. Shannon, I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda for this meeting and the consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Thank you. The next item will be department reports, and we'll begin with Goldendale Police Department.
Don't got very much this week. Everything's been running pretty smooth. Halloween was uneventful. Didn't have any problems or anything like that. In the department, because of the grant money received from the casino, we're getting ready to purchase some other equipment for our active shooter. But calls for service, day shift's been pretty busy, night shift's been mild, but nothing, no big cases as of yet. So we're doing good, and that's about it. Not too much going on right now.
That's what we need. Thank you. I don't believe Noah's on tonight, is he?
I don't think so.
Okay. But we do have a representative of the Public Works Department, Doug Frampton. Doug, do you have anything you want to report right now from Public Works? We'll do the truck later.
I can just do it all at the same time.
Okay, that's probably best. And Connie has some business tonight.
I met with Radcomp this week, and he called me today and to determine which kind of camera I wanted, and they'll be ordering it. I don't know if it's in this week or next week. That's for our Zoom meeting,
Right, so we'll be able to have Zoom.
the video.
The next item we'll go to is the council business, and we'll begin with the first item, the 2021 preliminary budget and budget message. And Larry Bellamy will present this.
Okay, this proposal that I'm presenting tonight, I should probably take this off so you can hear me. The proposal I'm presenting tonight is the one that we presented in the first part of October as the proposed preliminary budget. This is taking off that word proposed, and now it's just the preliminary budget. So as I was telling the staff this morning, we're on track to finish this out for the next 2 months. We'll be working on the budget, and we should be able to get through that. And there are several things that are being discussed, and we will continue to work on those as we go through this process. So the preliminary budget that's attached for your review is pretty much an extension of the 2020 operations budget, with the exception of a few capital outlays that we have been talking about over the past couple of weeks. We did meet as a budget committee on the 26th of October. So other than the regular operation and maintenance, we have identified some capital outlay that we are holding money back for. We're assuming at the present time that the Byers Street Improvement Project will be awarded to Goldendale through the TIB program. And so given that, we've built the capital outlay around to that to make sure we have funding enough to match what needs to be done there. So there is a $60,000 match that's required. We have that available in the city street budget. And then there's another $250,000 that will be spread between the replacement of the water line on Byers Street and then the replacement of the sewer line in the alley right north of where the new Clickitat County Services Building is being constructed. So we've discussed all of that information, and this morning actually we had some discussions about it, and I wanted to also touch base with the council because one of the elements of the budget is to identify the employee levels that we have, and those are going to be pretty much remaining about the same. But just as a way of a reminder, we have 9 commissioned officers and 2 administrative staff in the police department. We have currently a staff of 8 in public works. That includes the treatment plant operators. And we are looking at converting what we've had in recent past. We've had 2 seasonal employees that have worked 6 months. We are looking at converting that to 1 full-time person. So that would make public works crew then 9 if that were approved. And then the administrative staff is myself and Connie, Jeff Rayleigh, and the 2 administrative positions. We also have, in our fire department, we have 2, a chief and assistant chief, 3 captains, and about 20 volunteers. It fluctuates from month to month, but it hovers around 20. So that's our current staffing levels for being proposed in the operation and maintenance budget. We also talked this morning about a couple of additional capital outlays that are being requested as necessary, and we need to take a look at those. They are to finance a new vac truck on the state purchase program. This is similar to what we did when we purchased the fire trucks. When we purchased the fire truck, the police vehicles, and the public works utility vehicles. We utilized a program called Local, LOCAL, program through the Washington State Department of Treasury. And we were able to buy the equipment that we needed on time. I think we financed the police cars and the utility vehicles with 5-year contracts and a fire truck with a 10-year contract. So we would like to, it was brought to my attention that we need to take a look at purchasing a new vehicle that would be a vac truck. The one we have now, and maybe Doug can touch on this as well, the one we have now is really, the life is ended, is basically what I understand. So we need to take a look at that possibility as well. And then another thing we looked at, the public works staff is working on a new table, a council room table for us. It's pretty heavy and made out of some wood that's been grown in our area. And so we're looking at maybe replacing carpet flooring in the council room and in the office room to have it be, what do you guys call that when the flooring that you have in your office? What is that?
Laminate.
Laminate flooring that looks like wood flooring. Anyway, we've been looking at that, and then it was also brought to my attention that one of the fire command trucks is at the end of its life as well, and so they wanted us to take a look and see if we have budget for those 3 items as well. So in light of that, and the budget being kind of a work in progress document, I would like to at least request that the budget committee meet again on the 30th of November. That would be between the second meeting of November, but before our December 7th meeting in the first meeting in December.
What date did you say?
I said November 30th. This will allow us to determine if our revenue picture is still looking as good as it is, and we can have some more clarity as far as the actual status of our budget. So I would like to make sure that the budget committee is available on the 30th at 6 o'clock on November 30th. That would be Julie and Andy and Shannon. So if you're available, before we leave this discussion item, it would be nice to know that you can come to those meetings.
Go ahead, Larry, this is Shannon. I'll be gone that whole week.
So would you rather meet on the 23rd, or could you meet on the 23rd?
What day is that?
That's a Monday, but it's
Monday?
a Monday.
Yeah, that'd work better, because I'll be leaving actually on Tuesday.
Okay, so that would be the Monday of, I think, Thanksgiving week, right, Shannon?
Yeah, that'd be good.
So Andy and Julie, can you make a Monday on the 23rd?
That works for me. This is Andy.
And this is Julie, that'll work.
Okay, we'll make it for November 23rd at 6 o'clock, is that all right?
Yep.
That's fine. Yep.
Okay, are there any other questions on the preliminary budget?
Actually, I know I'm a pain in the ass, guys, but I gotta ask the question. When we're buying these vehicles and looking at things along those lines, do we look at Dermo at all, the federal government surplus stuff that's a lot cheaper? I don't know if we can use that. But it's a thought. I mean, you can buy a fire truck for $1 if you're federal government. The city might be able to use that as well. I don't know if
We have used,
anybody's looked into that.
yeah, Kevin, we have used a couple of options available to us through the state and through the Department of Natural Resources. As far as fire is concerned, we have a lot of opportunity there. We actually did purchase a vehicle for like a $1. We had to kind of retrofit it, but it's a great firefighting vehicle that
Yes.
our guys helped put together. And so we have used some of those programs. We have actually in the past used a program, I think it's out of Auburn, Washington, which is where they have a lot of federal surplus vehicles and things. We've touched on those. They are armed forces type vehicles that need a home, and we have used that in the past. I don't know that we've done it of late, but it's a possibility.
Okay, thank you. That answers my question. I might spend tomorrow morning looking
Sure,
more stuff up, but thank you.
that'd be great.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
This is Lauren, just looking at our legislative budget and thinking about what this legislative process is going to look like. Looks like our legislative budget is the same as last year, but I'm just curious to know if legislators are we planning on sending folks from the city to Olympia? Are legislators meeting in person, or is it all going to be done remotely due to the COVID situation?
My guess, I'm not sure, Lauren, but my guess is that they'll hold it remotely. We usually go up and have meetings with our legislators in January or February. And in years past, we have always had a chance to meet with our legislators, either for sometime in late January or early February. But it's quite possible, given the status of the COVID-19, that they will do that remotely.
A little bit of a tangent, but are there any particular issues that we will be promoting in this legislative process, Larry?
I haven't really thought that. I haven't really. Well, the main thing, actually, I have kind of thought of it. The main thing is the pump storage project. We would certainly like to see that project move forward, and they have helped us. The state has helped us in the past and helped move things along, and it'd be nice to get some federal help to move that application process along. We have in years past tried to get them to talk with us, and we've had very good breakfast meetings with them, but I haven't really sat down and thought through what we would ask them for. They're going to be hurting pretty much as it is. But as far as new legislation, we need to open that up to any council member who would like us to consider that, and we can make sure that they're well aware of what's available up there. And I know that the mayor has also been meeting over the last few months with Gina Mossbrucker.
Yes.
And has talked about some things, so maybe you can take the ball here and answer Lauren's question.
Yeah, I think, Lauren, it will be probably a remote type of meeting, a Zoom meeting. State Representative Mossbrucker has used a telephone community connection program for a number of months, every Wednesday at midday, to get updates from different community leaders. It's been very, very helpful, and it's something that's been very useful in understanding everything that's going on between the state and the different activities within the city. So hopefully one of these days we'll be out of COVID and we can just have regular meetings again, but right now we're still stuck with the requirements to meet remotely, any group over 5 people.
Sure, yeah. I think that's going to just make it more challenging to get the message out as our legislators are consumed by those types of meetings and the extra time and scheduling that takes. So the reason for my off-tangent or off-subject question about our legislative process was to suggest that maybe we get started early on some of that, and it's great to hear that you guys already have. And if there's any support you need, especially for that pump storage project, to get started on working with our legislators early, I'm happy to provide some help there if I can.
Very good.
Yes, I apologize, but, to follow up on that, if we could get, just a half a page document so that we're all on the same page and not counteracting what other people are saying or what the city's saying as a whole, and try to get everybody get on the same page. Just a thought.
Well, I think probably we'll be able to include that whenever this is approaching a little bit closer, because we normally have an agenda of the topics we want to cover, which we provide to the legislators. And then we have a very active early morning discussion of about an hour and a half, sometimes as long as 2 hours. But we can have a discussion with City Council on any questions, and don't wait till we have a meeting. If you have something that you feel we need to raise with them, always bring it up either by phone or by email or by text. Larry and I both will be happy to hear, so that we do have everything on the same page. Thank you, Kevin.
Yes, thank you.
Mayor, this is Mylan. Yes, unfortunately, I believe we are going to have Zoom phone calls during the session. In fact, I believe the legislators are going to be doing the same thing. Back on the pump storage, yes, that's a good idea. We need to get the information down and find out what the latest is going on, and we could distribute that to the council members and go from there. But no, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I think that'd be great if there's an opportunity to get that out early to folks so we can start having those conversations, maybe writing letters of support early and doing that kind of work, because that's a significant project.
Well, we have a
Thanks,
very
Marlon.
timely response for this. We received from the Federal Energy Regulation Commission today all of the documentation for the scoping document number 1 for the Goldendale Pump Storage Project, and I've put it in each one of your council room boxes. It's about, I think about 25 pages long, but it gives a lot of breakdown into not only what the project's all about, but the different steps that this scoping document has to go through to be approved. And that will involve public comment, support from the city council, and for that project. And we'll be calling on all of you to be a part of that in a number of ways.
Thank you, Mayor.
You bet, thank you. Any other comments or questions?
This is Lauren again. Last question, I promise. Under planning and community development, and maybe I'm not looking at the right spot here, but I'm just kind of curious as we have and maybe Justin's position doesn't fall under planning, but I think it does. I'm just kind of curious where his salary and wages are at in the budget, or, are they under planning, community development, or somewhere else, just making sure that we have that new recent addition covered in the budget.
Okay, I'll make sure it gets into the right spot.
Thank you, sir.
Mayor, this is Milo. I have one question. Larry, on the Coney Park, is that in the budget?
Actually, it is.
Okay.
To the tune of about $10,000 in the budget.
Okay, thank you.
If there aren't any other comments or questions on that item, we'll go to the capital outlay for a 10-yard dump truck / snowplow. And we'll have, I think Larry's going to introduce it, but Doug Frampton will give us the details.
Okay, just by way of introduction, we do have 2 10-yard dump trucks that were recently purchased through Clickitat County and their surplus equipment program. We purchased them for about we bought 2 of them actually. We purchased them for about $24,500, and they had, the one that we're working on right now has a mileage of 270,000 miles, which, as I understand, is really not that bad. And compared to if we had to buy a new dump truck, a 10-yard like this, it would cost as much as $150,000. So Doug and his staff have evaluated the options and have determined that the engine replacement is probably the best course of action. And the one thing I wanted to make sure that the council knew, and maybe Doug will touch on this as well, but our in-house guys will provide the labor. They certainly have the knowledge it takes to replace the engine and do the work, but the labor is by our own public works crew. So Doug, maybe you want to expound on my introduction, and then we can go for any questions in your report after that.
Well, I think you pretty much covered it. I guess if anybody has any questions about that, I can answer them.
This is Doug. I do have a question on that. Will the working it in-house and getting that, is this one of the dump trucks that's used during snow removal, and if so, will it be up and running in case we do get snow?
Yes, this is kind of our lead dump truck. We do use it for plowing and With your guys' permission, I'd hope to have it up in 2 to 3 weeks, up and running.
Okay, perfect. Just wanted to make sure if it is the main one, then we kind of need to make that a priority.
And to touch a little bit more on that, there's always pothole questions. That's a truck that we run half ball with out of the Dalles. And hopefully, we'll get one of the two back up and then be able to do some potholes again before the weather gets too awfully bad.
What is the estimated total cost of replacement for that, Doug, with the engine purchase and then the labor to install it?
We're probably going to be so we looked at many different options, and this engine replacement comes complete. So it has all the pan, valve covers, turbo. So we're probably looking at 2 days with 2 guys. So I mean, I guess if you average it at $50 an hour, 8 hours a day, 2 guys, I don't know what that'd come out to be, but that's going to be about what it's at.
Okay. And then, do we have staff on the city that has experience or training with this kind of work?
Yes. Myself as well as 3 of our employees have been mechanics on big trucks in the past, so yeah, we're good to go in that department.
Okay.
So, go ahead.
Oh, just thanks for your comments, Doug.
So my next question is, I don't want to do this every year. Is there a way to put this into a long-term plan where we get a newer truck over the course of the next 5-10 years, so these guys are not scrambling to figure out what they're going to do when winter comes?
To that question, is you, Larry?
Well, we try our best, Kevin, with the funding that we have available to plan as much as we can ahead to basically, I think what you're saying is try to save some money ahead so that we can have an equipment pool program and put some money aside to help purchase equipment on a revolving basis and not be caught with a truck needing repair at a time when we need to use that truck. We try to do a little bit of...
Go ahead, Larry.
Okay, I just say we try to utilize our funds that we have available as best we can. That's why in the beginning of the meeting we talked about buying through, well, not at the beginning of the meeting, but in the discussion I had on the budget, we have available to us some programs through the state that allows us to finance this equipment over time, and their interest rates are like 1.5% to 2%. So it's hard to not take advantage of that, I guess. But our preference is that we would have money aside. It just doesn't. The funding just isn't there all the time because we can't raise rates enough and taxes enough to help set that up and still try to run a city.
That's why I asked about a long-term plan.
Right.
Because we don't, the service is so important for 5-6 months a year, depending on the year. And the job they do is phenomenal. But for them to be scrambling every fall, that worries me because it puts pressure on them, and that can be damaging to morale. But I digress. I'll let you all go. I'm going back on you. Thank you.
Can I add a little bit? This is Doug.
Yes, go ahead, Doug.
Yes, please.
So earlier, somebody had mentioned doing the programs like the government programs and getting vehicles for the dollar and things of that nature. I've done extensive research on the vehicles that we've owned. new and used. We've had vehicles that we bought used on government programs that have cost us as much as $8 a mile to operate. When we purchase new, it's proven that our miles, I guess, per dollar are somewhere around 10 cents. So we're kind of trying to restructure things so we can look at new and kind of get it planned out to where it's on a program and not just a willy-nilly buy here, buy there kind of program.
This is Phil. I'm going to second that idea of, I don't know if it works, I know the county does, put different large budget items over a period of time and they start putting money into pretty much like a savings account each year with the idea that it's going to be a large capital purchase in 3 or 5 years or 10 years. I think we need to look into that. I know last winter we talked about these guys needing a snowplow that, you know, they don't have to run 3-4 times on the same road over and over just to clear enough snow. But the equipment that they have is, I mean, kudos to them for keeping it running, but some of the stuff is outdated. So I would suggest strongly to have those plans and see if we can start putting money aside each year. And then are we needing a motion on this?
No, we don't need a motion.
Okay.
Well, we do need a motion.
So I think we're kind of, this is Shannon, I think as far as, I think we're working towards that program already because as far as we purchased the new police vehicles on a 5-year contract, we kind of started working on a program for the fire department, and we're going to kind of start working on that same program with the public works because we're already talking about buying a new vac truck on a 5-year contract, basically. And if we keep that going and purchasing a new piece of equipment every 5 years, we can get stuff on a rotation. Now, when we're talking about the new vac truck, we kind of discussed this before, and my suggestion was that, and then Doug, you can weigh in on this, but to purchase the new vac truck, keep our old vac truck, and possibly send the old pump and stuff, whatever, in to be rebuilt for a second pump truck in case something happens with the new or the vac truck, in case something happens, because that's a really critical piece of equipment for our public works guys. I don't know what you think about that, Doug.
I'll weigh in a little bit on that. So I have voiced that I'd like to keep that truck. The VACCON part of it at this point is so far gone that I don't think it's worth keeping that, but we do have a water tank that we got from, I believe, the Forest Service out of Oregon, and we could leave the jet system on that truck and have the ability to jet at least and keep that in our fleet. Because the chassis of the truck is in pretty good shape. It's just all the atoms that are not good anymore. We're pretty much down to where every other time we use it, we have to repair something on it.
So Phil, I apologize. I thought we were still on the preliminary budget, but we do need a motion to approve this capital outlay.
Okay, so then I'll make a motion to approve the amount needed to, or requested to get the repairs going on the dump truck for public works.
Do we have a second?
Shannon, I second.
It's been moved and seconded to authorize the capital outlay request to replace the engine in the aforementioned dump truck in the amount of $23,000, excluding sales tax, accessory parts, and core exchange.
We need to add labor to that.
And also the labor will be added. Are there further questions or comments on this motion? It's been moved and seconded, and I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Very good, thank you. Any opposed? Thank you very much.
That's Doug who was making more comments.
Pardon me?
That's Doug who wants to make it.
Doug Frampton, do you have any other questions you would like to ask or present to the council?
No, I don't have any questions, but just real quick, like to give you guys a little bit of an update of what we got going on. Right now, we're in the process of winterizing all the city buildings, vehicles, and such. Getting the snow equipment ready. We've been insulating meters pretty heavy, so if you see us in your yard, that's what we're doing. For some reason, we've had a pretty fair amount of water leaks in our meter boxes from failing fittings. I don't have an explanation for that, but it's something else we've been working on. And we're getting our generator maintenance done. But that's kind of where Public Works is at right now.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Doug. Good to hear Public Works update.
And Doug, we sincerely appreciate all that Public Works does. You're involved in almost every single thing in the city in a very positive way, and we appreciate your crew.
Well, I got to pass that off to the crew because the crew that the city has right now is pretty amazing, and the abilities they have and what they can accomplish.
It's an excellent crew.
Every day.
You're exactly right.
It's nice happening.
You all do a fantastic job. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go now to report of officers and city administrator, and we'll begin with Larry Bellamy.
Okay, I wanted to touch base with everybody and let you know what's going on with the airport improvement project. And we are in the preparation of plans and specifications are underway by the consultant, and he's preparing bid documents for 2 different contracts. One contract will just touch base with the fuel system package. It'll be a turnkey package that he'll be going out for, and that will need to be done here in the near future because it's got about a 12-month lead time before they are actually delivering those fuel system packages. And then the second of the 2 contracts he's working on preparing bid documents for is the civil work, such as bringing the electricity over, the communications, and the hard surface pad or the concrete pad, and the containment area where the fuel system will actually be located once it arrives. So we wish to present those plans and specifications and their current status to the airport committee. The airport committee meeting that we are planning at the moment is on Tuesday, November 17th. And then we would be holding that meeting remotely using the Join Me application. And we've just set that up for Monday, November 17th. And we were looking today at sending an email out to all of those persons interested in the airport improvement project. But we also found out that we only have 1 council member who's currently on that airport committee. And that council member is Mylan Walling. So Mylan, you're already on the airport committee, and you'll be included in the Join Me application, but that leaves it open for a couple of additional council members if they would like to attend. So are there any council members that would like to also be included in this airport committee? We thought maybe Kevin might be interested. Are you interested?
Kevin is definitely interested. I will walk there in the morning if you want me to.
All I'll need from you, Kevin, is an email address so I can send out the invitation for the remote meeting. And I think we have that.
Okay, you have it. I'll make sure Connie has it, and I'll send it to you as well.
Okay, that sounds good.
Thanks, Kevin.
Larry, this is Mylon again. What time was that again on November 17th?
7 p.m.
I don't know what's causing that.
Hey, Larry, this is Shannon. I'd be interested.
Okay, well, that's
Very
three of you then. Thank you, Shannon. And so it'll be Shannon, Mylan, and Kevin who will be the council members on the airport committee for the meeting on it's Tuesday, November 17th at 7 p.m.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Thank you.
Complete. We'll go on now to the council members, and we'll just go through by name call.
Mayor?
Yes?
Maybe just a reminder for everyone to mute their phones if they're not speaking and try and limit background noise would be helpful for the meeting. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Got it. Good. Mylan Walling, first council member.
Well, thank you, Mayor. Well, two things. One thing, I was going to ask about the airport meeting, and I'm glad we're going to have it on the 17th. The other is I see the Darla store. They're beginning the construction of the new Darla store. And also then on the reader board sign, probably have noticed we did get the reader board sign up. We're having some little difficulties with it. There's about 4 or 5 panels, squares that are not working. So we're going to have to take it back down and possibly order some new squares. And of course, the warrant covers it, but then it's just going to take a little longer. I really want to thank the PUD for doing an excellent job working on this, and they're continuing working on this till we get the job done. And I think it's going to work all right. I wished we could have got it maybe a little bigger, but then that would have cost more. And I wanted to get a reader board that had good definition. And again, it wasn't easy getting the funds that we did get. But again, I want to thank the PUD for really doing a good job. Anyway, that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mylan. Next council member, Filberto Ontiveros. Phil.
Sorry, I gotta figure out the mute button. I just want to give a shout out and credit to our city supervisors. I know Doug is quick to give credit to his crew and everybody who manages. But I think for a small city, the amount of employees we have, what they're able to accomplish on every day, keeping things running. Unfortunately, sometimes with minimal equipment, it is truly amazing what they can accomplish even. And obviously that reverts back to the leadership, that all the employees are willing to do the work and go beyond what any typical city employee would do under great leadership. Though Doug and Noah and Jay will all quickly revert back and give credit to their employees, I think that's says huge things about them as well. So don't want to miss that opportunity. I think that's all I have right now. And also not to forget all the employees at City Hall as well. The amount of work they do with business licenses, paperwork, permits, and everything else. Again, for minimum employees that we have is huge. So
Thank you, Phil. And we'll make sure these different departments know just exactly how much they are appreciated because they do good work, every one of them. Next council member would be Andy Hall.
Yes, Mayor. I'm not sure if this, maybe Mylan can shed some light on this, or possibly Larry. A friend let me know, they saw something on Facebook about I think it's the Columbia River Keepers, about trying to fight the permits that are, I think it's the 9th is when they're due, or when they're going to be issued or something. Is that going to be a big issue for getting the pump storage thing going, or have you heard anything?
Well, I recognize the names. It's Columbia River Keeper is it's an organization who looks at different actions that are taking place in the gorge. And I had not heard anything about that date, the deadline date, but they're certainly, as I understand, welcome to make their comments known through this FERC process. And I don't know if that's what they're talking about or not. But I have, that's all I've heard.
I'm sorry, this is Mylan. I haven't heard anything about the date either, but I know the company Rye is obviously following this very closely, and I haven't heard anything lately, but I know they're following it. So I guess that's all I know right now. Hopefully we can keep the process going on it.
It'd be interesting to look into that further because, as I understand it, the pump storage is a closed-loop system, really shouldn't affect water quality in the Columbia River at all. So maybe we just need some education and information out there for some groups that have concerns.
Exactly, just exactly.
Yeah, on the post that I saw, they were talking about how it could affect wildlife and fish and birds and water quality and all this, and so I don't know if they're not fully informed on what's going on or what, but Larry, I'll get you an email a link to what they have posted.
Okay, thank you.
I think that's a good idea that, Andy, that maybe we did put out an article here a while back about explaining briefly on the pump storage on who, but then maybe we need to go in more details, on this, and I think I'll talk to the company Rye and just find out what they would like to do, and perhaps we could do that.
Thank you, Rylan. Thanks, Larry.
Next council member is Shannon Middleton.
Yeah, the only thing I really have is there any way, Larry, that everybody that's in the room there could have a mic? Because it's really difficult to hear you guys.
Well,
I will second that.
Yeah. Okay, we will take a look at doing that. We might have to set up a different kind of sound system to make that happen. I'll ask maybe Radcomp to come up and see what they can come up with as far as some upgraded speaker systems and microphone systems.
Yeah, because if this goes like they're predicting, this could go through June, August of next year. I'm really hoping not, but...
You just bursted my bubble.
Okay, we'll take a look at that.
Thank you, Shannon. Next council member, Lauren.
Yeah, I was just thinking about our residential development and the number of purchases that are happening in Goldendale recently, especially thinking about pump storage and new jobs here. And I just want to see some continued work on promoting residential development. I think it'd be good to have a residential development site in a new neighborhood that maybe is appealing to folks that are in that urban flee situation and don't necessarily want to develop or maintain 5 acres outside of city limits, but maybe there's a neighborhood that is more associated or similar to, I should say, what's typical for a lot of urban, more highly populated urban neighborhoods. And so just want to advocate for our continued work to try and promote a large residential development to try and provide that housing ahead of continued pressure for folks moving here, and also providing opportunities for folks taking new jobs, working on pump storage or other large projects like solar, to be able to live in Goldendale rather than commute from the Dalles or someplace else.
Exactly. Good point. Very good point. Anything else?
I guess I'll say one more comment, and I just want an appreciation to Larry and Mayor Cannon and fellow city council members. It's been a really good conversation this evening.
We need that. We need it. Thank you. Next council member will be Julie Buck.
Thank you, ma'am. Everybody's sort of taken all the wind out of my sails. I do want to thank Mylan for the work on the reader board. Lots of comments on Facebook. People really excited that we're getting a new one put in there. I would also like to thank Larry. Last Monday was my first budget meeting, and it was very interesting, and I learned a lot. And Larry was very patient in explaining different things, so I really appreciate that. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Julie, very much. Kevin.
Well, I want to follow up on the gentleman earlier who spoke on the yeoman's work that the city council members do. Not the city council members, sorry. City employees do, Public Works does. They really do a fantastic job, and I want to thank them. And that's all I have for now.
Good. Thank you, Kevin, very much. On the mayor's notes, there's a couple of things. One, I want to ask a question of the council. I have this FERC document that I put in your boxes, but we seldom see you in City Hall. Would you like for me to send that out like we do the emergency center notices on COVID? If you get those, you could print it out. It's quite a few pages, but you wouldn't have to come into the office to pick up a copy. I've forgotten how many megabytes.
Let's do both. Let's do both.
We'll just do both. Good solution. The next item is to thank not only the children, but their parents, and just generally everybody in Goldendale that worked so hard on Halloween to keep it safe, keep the distancing, keep the masking, and it was a very quiet holiday. Great for the children, and a lot of candy exchanged hands, I'm pretty sure, and we appreciate the efforts that everybody made. You took seriously the danger of COVID, and that is a big benefit to all of us. The next item, I received something unusual from ACLU about letting our citizens know, and I've talked to Chief Hunziker also about this. He raised it, but both the police department and the sheriff's department have coordinated what they would do in case of any kind of difficulties on election day or after that. They work very well together, they're well prepared, and it's well planned. And we shouldn't worry about it, but just keep your eyes open and make sure everything is working the way you feel it should. Particularly to stay calm and careful and safe. There's a lot of scary things going out right now, but they're mostly talk. The next item on the agenda is public comment. And we have at least one person that wants to speak on public comments. It's open now. If you could limit your remarks to 3 minutes, and we'll move through. Who's here for public comments?
I'm here for public comment. Can you hear me okay?
Yes?
Yes.
Yes. The reason I'm calling in for public comment tonight is because I recently built a house here in Goldendale within the city limits, and my address is 816 Pine Street, and my name, you guys have your pencils and pens handy?
Yep.
Yes, we do. My name is Craig, C-R-A-I-G, and my last name is N-O-V-I-K-S. And what happened when I built my house is I looked at my title report. The city had an easement that was going through the property, but at the same time, the title report never, in the easement, never specified that there was an asbestos water line under where I wanted to build my house. So at the end of the day, I had to spend like $1,800 to remove the asbestos water line. And I went into the city and talked about it with the city official who's in your meeting tonight, but I'm not going to say any names. But at the same time, I was attacked pretty aggressively for trying to get this situation resolved. So when that happened, I just kind of backed out of the deal because I knew I needed a bunch of city signatures to complete my house. And now that the house is complete, all I have is I have 6 asbestos abandoned water pipes that are 15 or 14 feet apiece. So I have 84 feet of abandoned asbestos water pipe abandoned by the city of Goldendale. So the reason I'm calling in tonight, I'd like to see if the city of Goldendale would haul that away. So I don't have to pay for the expenses of hauling asbestos away, even though I paid for the expenses of removing it from the ground. So is there anyone there that can help me with that? That's my question to you.
Larry?
If you give me your number, I'll call you tomorrow about that proposal. Or you can call City Hall.
I just want to know, I don't want to know if it'll be called tomorrow. I don't want to be called tomorrow. I want an answer tonight, because I've already paid almost $2,000 to get out of the ground. So either the city will remove it or they won't, you know what I mean? That's what I want to know. That's my question. Can you answer your question? Can you answer that question? I guess my question to you.
Well, I'm not going to be able to answer that question because number one, I have to go over and see what you've got, how you've got it set up.
Oh, I'm telling you what you have. I have 84 feet, 6 pieces of asbestos pipe, and they're each 14 feet long, and they're abandoned by the city a long time ago. That's what I have. If you want to come look at it, you can. It's not going to change the fact that it's sitting there. So how's it get, my question to you is, how is the problem going to get resolved? That's my question.
This is Lauren. Is Doug still on the phone by chance? What's our disposal requirement for that, Larry? Do you know if that can be taken to the Republic landfill or disposed of at the transfer station?
I think that you have to suit up and that it has to be done like a hazardous material.
I'm not even asking the city to reimburse me for the $1,800 to take it out of the ground so I could build a house, you know what I mean? But the funny thing about it is my property taxes were $386 a year on this acre, and then I built a house, now they're almost $3,000 a year. So I'm spending all my money to pay you guys more taxes, and you have no responsibility in the things you left behind? That's my point. So, if you want to collect the taxes, that's great, but own up to the things that weren't done in the past also, that's my point. You can have the both ways.
Burial in place is a method for dealing with asbestos, but I think over time, especially if a landowner has to build something and they go to remove that, and that is a relic of the city's past infrastructure and operations, then, I just feel like the city really needs to be responsible for that and work with landowners to deal with it. We're not, obviously, no city, no rural community or even urban community is going to go out and remove all the past infrastructure, but when we can't just push that cost off on an individual landowner. So there's a lot of complication. Hold on a minute, sir.
Yeah, and no one wants to work against the city. I get that. So if I have to, I'll get a lawyer out of town. But for me, I don't really care. I already spent the $1,800 to take it out of the ground. I'm done. The deal's over. I got my house. I'm happy where I'm living, but I'm not paying a bunch of money again to get rid of their toxic waste. That's the way I look at the deal, So.
Yeah, I think it's hard for Larry to commit to doing anything specifically, but I think as a city councilor that the city should try and take care of that for you. We just need to check on what's going to be required to do that and what time frame and if it can be done. Maybe I'm speaking out of turn a little bit, Larry, but I would just voice support for dealing with the city's past infrastructure.
Right.
And I know that people that work at the city now have nothing to do with the abandoned line. I totally get that. It's not their fault, you know what I mean? I totally understand that.
So
Sir, just real quick, so where are these pipes right now?
Oh, they're on the side of my yard.
They're on the side of the yard.
Underneath the foundation of the house I had to build, you know?
Okay, so are any of them friable? Is it possible, like little chunks taken out of them that are,
No, they're all solid and they're all intact, you know?
but they're exposed to the elements, so it's possible that that might happen in the near future?
Only if you guys break them up and make them friable, but they're whole right now.
No,
But
no, sir, please do not do that. Okay?
Do what?
Do not break them up. Do not break them up.
I'm not breaking them up. They're solid. I haven't
Okay.
touched them since I got them out of the ground.
Yes, sir. Okay. All right. So I think Larry's gonna go ahead and hold you in the next day. And we will be following up on this, but I guess my next question for the mayor and Larry is, do we have this all over the city underneath? When somebody buys a piece of property, are they not being told that there's asbestos?
You know who told me about it was Carl at the city. That's how I found out about it, you know? But he's in Vancouver now. He's gone. But he's a big man, you know?
Larry, mayor?
Yes. Well, as you can tell, this has a lot of elements to it, and it's not something I can just answer right today, but if
Right.
I need to take a look at the situation and see if we, number one, if it's hazardous material, I need to go check and make sure that it's properly handled. If it was in the ground, I mean, the council has asked me to take a look at that and to evaluate it. I will do that, and I will respond to you as quickly as I can. I'll talk with our public works supervisor and get his input on it, and we'll try to be over there as soon as we can. I have to check with his schedule. I can't commit to tomorrow necessarily, but I can commit to this week having a result for you.
Okay. Thank you, Larry. Thank you.
This is Phil. If I can just add, I can see the frustration in trying to deal with this on both sides, both the homeowner and the city, especially where, all of a sudden it comes up and there it is. But I think we probably need to work out as things are being resolved for this one landowner, we need to work out a plan on how to deal with the leftover infrastructure and anything else that arises. And what is the city's plan going to be so that, from what I understand, there was a little bit of frustration when he came to City Hall and was trying to talk to somebody about this. And I wasn't there, so I don't know what the details are, but I think if we had a plan in place for future, this is definitely not going to be the only property owner that's going to come up with these, apparently. So we need to have a plan in place. Also because leaving them up to the elements, I don't think it's the safest way to deal with it right now.
Right.
You're correct on that. It's not the safest way to deal with it, but at the same time, I'm also out almost $200,000 or $3,000 to tear out shit that the city abandoned, that I didn't even know about it. Wasn't even on my damn title report. Carl's the guy who told me, you know what I mean? So
right, no, and nothing against you.
That comes up in construction, you know what I mean?
Right, nothing against you, we just need to have a plan.
$100 back to pull it out of the ground. I'm just asking, I'll give you $1,800, you know what I mean?
Right. This is not talking about you or how you have to deal with it, because you did have to build a home. I mean, no way in holding you back there. But I think as the city, we just need to have a plan, and that's what I'm talking about. So that nobody else has to deal with it for any frustration that you have.
My property taxes from almost $284 a year to almost $3,000 a year, you know what I mean? So I don't mind paying my property taxes. I'm all paid current caught up on my taxes. So I'm always a taxpayer. But if I'm going to pay my taxes, I shouldn't have to pay for your guys' abandonment of toxic material. That's the way I look at it, you know what I mean? And that's what I'm saying. I think that we're all on the same page. So we're not arguing with you. We're all on the same page.
So I still got the receipts for taking it out of the ground if you guys ever want to see them. Or I don't expect you to reimburse me because I just don't. But if you want to do the right thing, that'd be the right thing to do. So it's totally up to y'all, you know. I don't really care at this point. So.
Well, sir, the first thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and try to figure out a way and work with you as a member of our community to get rid of the asbestos. We don't want the neighborhood kids, we don't want your dogs or animals or you to get infected by any of that. So I'm still going to push this back to Larry a little bit. Sorry, Larry. But we're going to work with you, and I want to thank you for not only informing us of your situation, but the possibility that it might be more rampant in the community. Thank you.
All right, no problem. But for the record, my phone number is 509-314-8443. And once again, my name is Craig Novick. Anyone can call me back at any time, and hopefully we can come to a good resolution on this, you know?
Thank you, Craig.
All right, you guys have a good evening, and I appreciate taking my call.
You too. Thank you.
All right.
Is there anyone else on the line for public comment?
I would like to.
Yes,
Nancy Kuski, 515 Murdoch Circle. Tell me about the development that's going to happen on Roosevelt north of Grace Brethren.
It's under a conditional use application right now. It's called Stillwell Ministries. It's designed to be a youth center with a gym or an open space area where they can, it's like a community center for youth, is his plan. And to have amenities that would support youth activities and things like that. So he's presented an application for that, and it's going before the Board of Adjustment on the 12th of November.
At what time?
7 o'clock.
Very good. Thank you, Nancy. Anyone else for public comment?
So, Mayor, this is Shannon. It's not really, it's just commenting on the asbestos thing. I just want people to understand part of the reason why Larry needs to look into this is because what people don't know is dealing with asbestos, we probably have nobody certified here with the city crew to actually deal with asbestos. So, depending on what it is, Larry's going to have to get a plan, and he may have to call somebody in to actually have that asbestos removed. So it's a little more of a process than just backing a dump truck up, loading it up, and taking it to the landfill.
I would have to actually agree with him. I was an asbestos inspector for the state of Oregon a year and a half ago. My call has expired, but it is complicated.
Is there anybody else for public comment? If not, do we have a motion to adjourn City Council?
So moved.
This is Andy. I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn City Council for November 2nd, 2020. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Thank you. Good night.